All right, give me a mic check if you would. Just
Yes.
talk regular.
Yep. How's this sound? The level is pretty good on the microphone there. My name's Kyle Bose, and this is Dirty River Records. I was lucky when I started off. I got into the used record industry when I was 16. Just a friend of mine who was working at Record Reunion, who now works at their O'Fallon location, and we're still friends. His son and I played Little League against each other, and my dad was a customer at the store, and his son had got hired at the O'Fallon location, and my dad was like, hey, why don't you hire Kyle at the St. Charles? And we took it from there, and I worked there my last 2 years of high school, off and on going through Missouri State to come back and work during the winters and summers. A little post-graduation, a few more years, did journalism for 5 years, and then came back, worked 3 more, and that was kind of where my life path initially was gonna be. I went to Missouri State for journalism, and then waited for a couple years to see what job would fit me, and I started at the Louisiana Press Journal. I worked there for 2 years, and then I moved to Springfield, worked at the Springfield Business Journal where I interned when I was at Missouri State. I thought that was gonna be, just jump around to job, and then COVID happened, and it changed a lot of people's, industries and kind of life patterns. So when I got back into records, I just, rekindled that love for it. I'd been away for 5 years. I was still buying records, but I didn't have that interaction I had with customers where I got to sit down and see what people were listening to, or, just talk to people about, what's new, or, some obscure band or some like blues guy from the 40s or some jazz vocalist from the 50s. I missed that. So in doing that again, I felt that passion, and it just kind of felt like this is what I feel like my calling. This is what I'm meant to do, is to sit here and talk about music. So had an opportunity to open a store with my dad here in Frenchtown, and he and I jumped on it. I opened May 1st, was a soft open, and we're shooting for a grand opening on July 20th, which is actually my birthday. So yes, I'll be 36, and the store will be, I guess, technically 0/1. So yeah, it'll be good. We started seeing an uptick in records when I was at at Record Reunion in St. Charles, probably about 10-ish years ago, maybe a little bit longer. And we were selling them at that point for $3-4. Your Pink Floyd, your Sabbath, they were just not moving. And then all of a sudden, people started coming in, and just picking up records. We saw that they were moving more than CDs, and we started focusing more on ordering vinyl in, and just watching that trend slowly change over the last 10 years. I saw, even my friends start buying records, being more interested in, what it's all about, buying the classic rock stuff and the more modern artists. So I saw that there was definitely a need for it, and there's only so many stores in the area. So I figured, Frenchtown's an excellent area. It's up and coming. I'm right next to Rad Barber Shop and Frenchtown Tattoo. I feel like it's a good fit for the 900 block here. So yeah, it kind of all fell into place where I was able to launch this, and I've gotten really good response from customers for both just, the stock and the prices. So I'm always looking for feedback on my grading system, or, prices. I just want to hear from the community and, make sure that I'm, providing them with the service that I want to. With vinyl, I feel like, we live in a digital age now, and definitely the generation as a millennial below me, I see from them and my generation, so we like to own stuff. There's so many things that are digital nowadays that can just be yanked by companies at any time. So being able to actually physically hold something in your hand and just see what it's all about. And with records, you got to listen to the whole thing all the way through. So, with digital, you can skip, just listen to singles, but it's an experience to sit down and listen to vinyl. You get the, liner notes sometimes, the artwork, you got to listen to all the songs, you got to get up and physically flip the thing. So just being able to actually, physically own it and make it just kind of an experience really feels like it's something that's kind of back. You can throw on a record at a party and listen to it, and you can have people bring their own records, and there's a lot of obscure stuff that's maybe not available digitally. So you can learn a lot just listening to vinyl, from stuff from way back in like the 30s, 40s, or even modern stuff that people don't know about. So it's a fun kind of like, what do you have type situation with your friends. There's always the argument, you'll get into the audiophile people who'll spend tens of thousands of dollars on their system just to get, make sure they hear every note. I personally don't think you have to go that crazy, but if you spend $500,000 on a somewhat decent system, get some good pieces, you'll hear the difference. I mean, Rap sounds a little bit fuller. You can hear a little bit more in the beats, which people don't probably think about. But you'll hear layers in some artists, like TV on the radio, for example. You'll hear more layers in their music on vinyl than you will on CD because it's compressed and it's really intricate. So the more intricate music sounds way fuller, and you can hear stuff that you may not have caught listening to CD or digital. So it's definitely, to me, that's, always personal opinion, but I think it sounds better. So very rudimentally, like I kind of know, you're spinning a piece of, or you're spinning something, you're putting a hard piece of metal in there, and you're getting grooves, and you're creating a sound. I mean, I don't know the whole science behind it, but it is fascinating. I mean, I made a joke to somebody the other day that even in a post-apocalyptic world, you could still spin records. You can still find a way to get a belt-driven system, and you could still spin records, whereas no other technology you'd be able to do that with. So it's kind of interesting little take on it. You don't see that in like Fallout or anything, but they should incorporate the vinyl into post-apocalyptic shows more. Definitely be a good, fun take. So, and it's crazy if you just without any speakers, you'll just drop the needle and you listen real close. You can hear it making the sound. So, there's an amplification process, obviously, with the speakers to hear what you're hearing. But yeah, you can faintly hear just those grooves making those sounds that were made in the vinyl. It's a very interesting process. One of the, it's always going to come up when you talk about modern records is Taylor Swift. And it's kind of a bittersweet thing to me that she's really gotten the younger, at least the younger female generation into records and kind of helped them branch out and see what else is out there. But at the same time, since she prints so many variations, it kind of blocks the presses from other artists. So there's kind of double-edged sword there. There's a lot of stuff, especially in the 90s, us being 90s kids, like Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down, that new metal era was never really pressed on vinyl. If it was, they did one pressing and that was it because no one was buying it. And now that that generation, they have families, have jobs, are more established, kind of have some disposable income, it's always about nostalgia. People want to go back and relive their childhoods any ways they can. And, records are kind of a way to do that because, most millennials, parents are either late boomers or they're like early Gen X. So they listen to records. And there's a lot of memories of, especially me as a kid in the 90s, being in my parents' basement, playing my dad's Target Alpha pinball machine with his friends and spinning Who records. I mean, I remember hearing Boris the Spider the first time. It scared the hell out of me, but that's why I probably love metal. So I think there's a nostalgia factor. And executives aren't dumb. When they start seeing an uptick in sales, they're going to definitely rush to that medium and start seeing where they're going to follow the money. So they saw a chance to bring some of these artists that didn't really get a chance to sell records into the fold. And these newer artists, they seem that they want either to go digital or they go vinyl. It's like CDs are, at least for newer artists, kind of a thing of the past. I think you have to hit, I can't remember the exact number, but it's like either 250,000 or 500,000 plays just to even be somewhat profitable on Spotify. So if you're a big name artist, I mean, you don't probably even need those checks anyways, but if you're a indie artist or someone trying to break through, Spotify isn't going to help you. I mean, it might get your name out there, but the money's not going to be there. You'll still see stuff coming out of Germany. Japan's always been a huge manufacturer of records, and their stuff is usually some of the better presses. Switzerland, some stuff from France, Italy, United States, obviously, some Canada presses. So there are some companies doing it. There just seems to be a big backlog. I remember talking to a rep from my distributor a couple years ago, and he was saying that there's some stuff that they have to kick back a year just because of the backlog. So it just kind of depends on like who you are and how popular you are. Just maybe you can jump the line, but yeah, there's definitely a backlog. There's a demand for it, but doesn't seem there's enough supply for the demand. So hopefully we can start seeing some more printing presses pop up here in the next 5-ish years or 3 years. So personally, whenever I'm out, picking, I always look for certain labels. I'm a big Kama Sutra fan. That's the label that had Dust, and they had and Loving Spoonful, two opposite ends of the spectrum, but they had a lot of really good early psych stuff from the late 60s. Death Witch Inc., which is a hardcore label founded by Jacob Bannon, lead singer of Converge. Yeah, I like a lot of obscure labels. There are some that are defunct, like Black Market Activities or Hydra Head, stuff that did obscure, kind of hardcore music, experimental stuff. So I always look for the obscure. If it's something I've never seen before, I'll double look at it. I'll take another glance and see what it's about, and maybe pull it up on Discogs, you see what kind of genre it is. But yeah, I'm always looking for the weirdest stuff. I have a very eclectic taste, so I have all the classic rock and some of the bigger artists, but I have more fun finding stuff that no one's ever heard of and maybe has under 500 plays on YouTube. That's the stuff that I like to find. So, and then I'd tell people always look for white label promo stuff. That seems to be the DJ copies. And that's maybe a little bit better quality of vinyl. So, because they want it to sound good when it was being played on the radio. So, something that collectors look for is the white label stuff. A white label promo is just going to be, it'll have like the usual label, but on the inside it'll just be a white label. So say it'll be like Columbia, for example. Their later logos were a red background with Columbia circling it in gold, and then the lettering of the track and artist in black. On a white label promo, all that would be just black and white, and there wouldn't be any color on the vinyl label. Yeah, so people look for those because there are fewer of those copies out there because they're sent either to radio stations or promotional companies, so they sound a little bit better. Right now, my big thing here is I like to promote Amigo the Devil because he's a folk guy. I met him once. He's super nice. I've seen him live a handful of times, and his music is very unique. It's dub murder folk. He plays like banjo and theremin. He's got a full band. But I've been selling that to people, and I'm not like, oh, I've been listening to this guy forever. But I'm like, I have seen him live a handful of times. So, but yeah, I mean, he's been popular, and it's good to see.
Best friends.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good seeing though that people have the same taste as me too. Because I've had people come in like, oh yeah, I've been looking for this album, and I'm like, that's awesome. So sometimes I have to keep in mind that we're not all elitists here. There's some stuff that that has made it to more of a mainstream audience, which is good. That means it's good stuff, I guess. If it gets to the mainstream, that means there is some kind of redeeming quality to it. I try to break my store down by genres, and I'm getting a lot of new stuff into, so stuff that people will recognize. I want there to be a lot of that in here, like your Led Zeppelins, your Pink Floyds, your Rushes, Beatles, more modern stuff like Nirvana and Alice in Chains and like Mastodon. Bigger name bands, all covering all genres. I got some pop music in here, like Dua Lipa and Sabrina Carpenter, who's blowing up right now. I got her newest album, so I don't try to be biased. I'll order whatever in. I mean, I listen to pop music. I listen to jazz. I try to listen to everything, like country, bluegrass, folk, funk. So I'll put it on. If I feel like it's kind of catchy, I'll sell it. So yeah, no Andy Williams in here though, unfortunately. And I do special orders. I'm trying to do an order every week, and I'm trying to, when I do my orders, have them land on Fridays. So try to sync up with new release dates as best I can. So, but it could fall on a Monday. But we're hitting that every week 10-day window so far since we've done our orders, and we've done 4. We just placed our 4th one this morning. So yeah, that's going well. And we're getting a good steady stream of used stock coming in. And I try to flip out our new arrivals bin every Wednesday, and then add the order to that bin as it comes in. So yeah, trying to keep the stock fresh in the front. Not gonna lie, I don't have that big of a knowledge base of players and models and what's sought after by collectors. So once I learn more about that and what it's all about, I'll probably dive in. I'll stick my toe in at least and see if it's a profitable revenue stream for me. But I'm gonna stick to records, I think, at this point, and any odds and ends. Like I got a couple books, a couple music VHS, and some 80s metal cassettes that just came in that I'm working on. So I'll sell, things that I have some knowledge with, but when it comes to the equipment, I'm going to stay away for now. When I was coming up with the concept, I knew, records are cool. I mean, people come in by records, but I wanted to have a secondary revenue stream or a secondary kind of hook to draw people in here. So I thought pinball, and when I found this building, there was a little secondary room, and it was perfect. It can fit up to according to my technician, 4 pinball machines. We got 3 in there right now. Actually, the first thing we moved in here was my No Fear game. There was no furniture, not even a chair, but we got No Fear in here first and started playing pinball. So that's kind of where the priorities were when we first started getting this concept going. Then we added Venom, and then I'm borrowing Rush from my technician right now. So yeah, we have 3 at this point. We will expand to 4, and I'll end up probably buying 4 machines of my own down the road. Just right now, I started with 2 because they are a little pricey. But yeah, it's a fun hobby for sure. It's a good thing to compete against your friends with because you're playing against the machine, not really so much your friends. So it's fun. I think as I've gotten older, I've enjoyed it more than video games, which is kind of crazy. So I think it's just with pinball or with video games nowadays, you have to sit down. You got all these side quests. It's like a grind. You got to spend 8-10 hours to feel like you've made any progress in video games. Whereas pinball, you can play a game in 5, 10. If you're having a really good one, maybe 20, 30 minutes. But then after that, you're done. You feel like you've seen a lot of the game, and so it's kind of nice too. It's kind of a quicker satisfaction of gaming. And I know people that have been playing pinball for decades, and they'll step up to a machine, and they'll put up an insane high, they'll get on the internal board and the high scores like, I don't even know what I'm doing. You just kind of rely on the skills of keeping the ball alive and hit stuff that's blinking. So that's kind of nice. The pinball skills are it seems to be universal, where you can apply them to any machine. You just got to learn where you have to shoot on the machines is the big thing. So yeah, it's fun. Hopefully the grand opening on July 20th is my goal. By that point, I should have the mural completed that's on my counter. I should have some more cosmetic work that'll be done to the front of the building. I should have my sign get approved by city council at that point, so I'll have a hanging metal sign. We're just trying to get everything kind of wrapped up and make it look as presentable as possible before then. So yeah, we're shooting for July 20th. We hope to have some live music, food, maybe a couple vendors out there selling some stuff. So yeah, we'll start getting the word out soon for that. And then if people are looking for any records, I may not have it, but I can do my best to track it down and do special orders for people. And we got shirts for sale. We're going to expand the merch line here later on this year to tote bags, and we got drinks for sale as well if people are spending hours playing pinball. So yeah, just try to have a little different things here to offer to people, and hopefully we'll expand that after we're talking to the community and see what people are looking for.